Now, Jaws was first released in 1975. What is it about this film that has people talking 37 years later?
The thing about Jaws is it's a simple story. It's about man versus nature. Three guys that are very different, bandying together to solve a common problem. And the thing that's fantastic, you know, I mean, looking behind me, the shark is really cool. I mean, there's something primal about a shark. It's real. It's not a dragon. It's not a monster. It's not a space alien. It's something that we know exists and don't know, and especially in 1975, didn't know a lot about. So it was really this mysterious creature that scared a lot of people because it was real.
Yeah. What was your experience seeing Jaws for the first time?
I saw Jaws in 1975 and I was 6 years old.
Oh.
And you know, there's two things that there's two things that a 6-year-old boy thinks are really cool. That's dinosaurs and sharks. So I saw the poster and I begged my parents. I said, I want to go, I want to go, I want to go. And you know, it's like, okay, we went. And I was thrilled, I was terrified, I jumped out of my seat, I hid behind the seat. I loved every minute of it. I loved being scared. It's like a roller coaster to me. You know, it's a great story. And then I said, I don't know what just happened to me, but I want it again. I want it again. And so they took me again. And then I got the Jaws log by Carl Gottlieb, which for a 6-year-old boy, I didn't understand what I was reading. You know, I didn't understand how a film was put together. But it clicked for me that I saw that there was a shark and it was on an apparatus and it was a mechanism and there was a guy with a camera, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's people that do this for a living. I want to somehow be a part of that. And it set me on a course of just being involved like that. And you know, some 37 years later, we've produced this documentary that's now on the official Blu-ray.
How did you how did the idea come about to do The Shark Is Still Working?
We were working on Martha's Vineyard for an event celebrating Jaws' anniversary. And we really wanted to tell the story of a lot of the locals were hired on Martha's Vineyard to fill out the cast, and they had never had a chance to really share their stories. So we started out that way. And then as we started hearing these amazing stories and seeing these great assets that they had, whether it was photos that they had taken on set or 8mm footage, we said, wow. And we also found that Jaws was one of those films that, more than any other film, really impacted our culture. I mean, people remember where they were when they saw Jaws, and they remember that they didn't go in the ocean for a long time, or maybe not at all after that. And then also, it was the positive influence where there are these young kids like Bryan Singer, Kevin Smith, Steven Soderbergh, Robert Rodriguez, who saw that film and they said, I'm going to make movies, that's what I'm going to do. And then also the kids that saw Matt Hooper and said, I want to be a marine biologist. So it's this positive thing that's a piece of entertainment. It's like, that's a great story. And it also created the summer blockbuster, and it's still around. It's still just as relevant now as it was in 1975. And with the Blu-ray coming out, the thing that's great is it looks so wonderful. It looks like it was filmed yesterday. So I'm waiting for that next generation of fan that maybe hasn't seen Jaws. Now we're going to, you know, introduce them to this thing that's been around.
Oh, the film's stunning. It looks fantastic. But you've been showing The Shark Is Still Working at festivals for quite some time. Are you glad that it's finally being, you know, released? And how do you feel about it being on the Jaws Blu-ray as opposed to a standalone?
Well, the version that's on the Jaws Blu-ray has never been seen before. It is a final cut. The thing that was great about our documentary is the original length was 3 hours, which was excessive. And we showed that to a couple of people, and they said, you know, it's too much. So Universal was gracious enough to let us play some film festivals, and we learned a lot. We workshopped a lot, and we really trimmed the fat and got it down to a lean 1 hour, 48 minutes. And we talked about releasing it independently, but we always, in our hopes, wanted it to be official. We wanted it to be an official release along with Jaws, a companion piece. And the fact that it's now not only a companion piece, but a companion piece to this stunning restoration, we're on cloud nine.
What is the most fascinating or possibly the strangest thing that you found out about the movie that you never knew?
The thing that we found out that was really fascinating was that when they were making the film, they were just trying to survive. They were trying to make a good film, but they had no idea. And a lot of the technicians and actors, every time we talked to them, they still had this kind of like, I don't understand. We did it, we survived, but I think they were still kind of a little perplexed. They were proud of what they did, but it's like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that this would last this long. But it's really a true testament to those performers, those artists, the technicians, and ultimately, you know, a young director by the name of Steven Spielberg, who was really finding his footing. And to me, Jaws created the Steven Spielberg that we all know.
Why do you think he opened up again about the film Jaws? Because it seems like he's been closed off for some time. Why do you think he was so amped to participate?
Well, what was great for us is, you know, we went into this knowing there was that kind of Spielberg doesn't want to talk about Jaws. It was very hard for him. But we approached it from an angle that it wasn't reliving Jaws, it was reliving what Jaws did to culture, talking about how this film impacted positively so many people. And when we interviewed him, he was just a film geek. He was passionate, he enjoyed it, he was having a ball. And I think it's the fact that after 37 years, it is one of those handful of films that rises to the top. It defines him, because it was his first where you really saw the Steven Spielberg style. I mean, Duel was fantastic, Sugarland Express, but they're very different films. Jaws really was the blueprint for all the films that came after that. You could start to see that signature Steven Spielberg style. And I think it's fantastic that we were able to interview him.
Thank you so much.
That it?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
He did
I love
the
this.
wrap up. Oh, thank you.